A heavy blanket of night had fallen over Los Angeles, and the city seemed even more silent than before. Looking out the window of her mansion, Taylor Swift was inspired by the city lights, but the city lights looked at her as if thousands of people were looking at her, and Taylor was starting to be afraid of it. Taylor's dreams had changed a lot in recent days. Taylor went on stage, people applauded her, but the applause did not reach her ears on stage. There was no music in her dreams, but a great silence, a silence that burned her ears, suffocating. Taylor's night began again. Taylor went over and sat down in front of the piano. Her fingers began to tremble on the piano keys. She wanted to play a melody, but whenever she pressed the first note, the piano would not make a sound, but a whisper. Taylor. She was startled. She was alone in the room. The piano lid slowly closed by itself. The candles in the room flickered, as if an invisible breath was trying to extinguish them. Taylor, finish the song. This voice was not unfamiliar to him at all. It was Taylor's own voice, but cooler, more hollow, a voice without humanity in it. It all started many years ago. When Taylor was at the peak of her career, she was working on an unofficial project in a studio. No one knew about this project, neither her assistants nor her producers. She was just writing it down for herself. The studio was very old and the walls were in a dilapidated state. It was as if the souls of hundreds of songs had been absorbed into those walls. When she was alone at night, Taylor could hear the rustling of the wall in her ears. Even when the sound of the tape stopped, something was still moving. While walking around the house, Taylor found an old tape recorder one night. There was no label on the tape recorder. It was just a rolled-up black tape. He turned on the tape recorder, first silence, then breathing, and a soft whisper. This song is unfinished. Taylor was very scared, but despite this, he continued to listen to that tape. The whispers began to turn into melodies, and the melodies began to pierce his brain like nails. He could not forget. He wrote the song, but he decided never to release it, because when that song was finished, he did not see his reflection in the mirror of that old studio. There was someone else in his place. As the years passed, that song came back again. Taylor was more exhausted after each concert. His fans who loved him said that they saw something different in Taylor's eyes. Deeper, more meaningful, and darker. One night, he was looking in the mirror in his dressing room, and this time the mirror was late. He started to smile, but not the other way around. Taylor whispered to himself, "It's just tiredness." Taylor slowly turned his head to the side. "Don't lie," said his reflection in the mirror. "You feel it too." Suddenly, the door slammed shut and the lights went out. The surroundings were plunged into darkness, and only the mirror shone in the darkness. "The song divided us." The reflection in the mirror continued to speak. "But now we must unite," Taylor shouted loudly, but no sound came out. After that night, events began to accelerate. Taylor's new songs were already having a strange effect on people. Listeners said that they could hear rustling and whispering when listening to the song with headphones. Some cried, while others felt scared for no reason. In fact, it was not without reason. It was the scary sounds the songs made. After Taylor's concert, one of her fans suddenly disappeared. Then another fan disappeared. The media began to write that these were just coincidences. But Taylor knew very well why all this was happening. The song was very hungry and fed her. Every night she would go on stage in her sleep. The hall where the audience watched Taylor was always dark. Their faces could not be seen in the darkness. But they all sang Taylor's songs at the same time. "Finish us." An old tape recorder stood in the middle of the stage. The play button was pressed by itself. Taylor returned to the old studio to find the truth hidden in the songs. That old studio was now abandoned. The walls were covered in black spots. It was as if the sound had burned the walls. The tape recorder was still there, but now there was a note on the tape, and the note was recorded. "You made us." Taylor started the tape. This time, there was not one sound, but thousands of sounds. The fans' voices, his own voice, and in between, broken laughter. "Every song takes a piece," said the voice looking out of the mirror. "When you became famous, we grew up." Hearing this, Taylor fell to her knees and shouted loudly, "Leave me alone." "It's too late," came the reply. The lights began to flicker, the walls began to shake, It was Taylor's last concert. The stadium was packed. Taylor took the stage and immediately the applause began to break out like a hurricane. But when she looked at her fans and loved her, she couldn't see their eyes. Everyone had a shadow on their face. The song began, that forbidden melody. On the screens in the background, Taylor's face was shown in close-up. Suddenly, a second face appeared on the screen, the same face but blank. "Sing, sing," thousands of fans said in unison. Taylor began to sing. The crowd that flocked to her voice began to fill the stadium even more. And then, silence. The stadium lights went out. The next morning, all the media wrote, "Taylor Swift fainted on stage." But there was a strange detail in the last live broadcast. Just a second before the video ended, the microphone was left on, and if you listened carefully, you could hear a very faint whisper. "Now we are not alone." Since that day, no new songs by Taylor have been released, but those who listen to her old songs say that, in quiet places, someone breathes, and when the song ends, a voice whispers, "Thank you for listening."